We're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Live with Georgia. Hi, hello. Welcome. This is my channel, Georgiamarantos, and I have a website too if you want to peruse that, georgiamarantos.com. And we are live with Georgia. And I'm having so much fun. We've been doing this for a few weeks now, and we're learning all about the cards, the tarot cards. Hello, hello. Let me know that you're here by making a comment. I can see that I have one viewer. I hope that I can. So I'm just getting used to pasting and clicking and letting everybody know what's going on here by putting in the first comment. But here we go. Here's my first comment. The big welcome. Hello, hello. Tonight we're going to study the High Priestess. Yes. And her overall color is blue. And you might remember where we had journeyed with the Fool and the Magician, whose colors were yellow and were representing sort of father energy or sort of godlike energy. And here we have the Divine Feminine. So finally she makes an entrance, and that's the High Priestess. And so I'm hoping that becomes, hey, Max, hello. Hi, Fran, welcome. Thanks so much. Yes, God bless you too, Max. Thank you so much. Colleen, hi. You love my hair? Thank you so much. I had a tutorial on how to curl it by Deb Ward, a friend of mine. So only the front part has actually been curled because I started at about 1:45. Thank you so much for noticing. I thought that I'd put the effort in, given that we're channeling the Divine Feminine tonight. Hi, Susanna. How are you? Thanks for coming, everybody. The High Priestess embodies the Divine Feminine, and of course, this is the unconditional love that is experienced through the Divine Feminine, through the Divine Mother. And we know that it's a very nurturing, all-encompassing, a completely unconditional type of loving that comes from the Divine. And I'm hoping that we can imbue some of that in any of the readings that we do today. And as always, if you want a reading. Here we go. If you want a reading, all you need to do is click on one of these links. So you can pay by credit card on my website. It's $10 in exchange for a reading tonight, a one-question reading. I need to do this in parts. So this is the first part. If you want to go to my website and pay, that's using a credit card there. And then you can also pay by Zelle or PayPal. And I'll just put those links there. So for Zelle, it's georgiamarantos@gmail.com, and for PayPal, it's the same email. But I've got the links there. So if you want to have a reading, let me know that you've paid, and then make a comment and let me know what your question is. You can be as specific as possible. And what I'll do is I'll try to weave some of the High Priestess in, and her energy is always about tapping into our own intuition, tapping into the sacred knowledge, tapping into the knowledge that has been around for centuries and was laid down as the High Priestess energy came into being. Because first you had the Fool, who is sort of 0 point God consciousness. And then you have the Magician, who takes that energy, that's that raw energy, and then uses all the elements and creates through manifestation, through thought manifestation, through thought vibration. And the Magician knows how to manipulate all of these elements to create that which he wants. Now, it's not a he or a she at that point. It's an energy. And so, look at the curl, says Deb. Yes, what do you think? I was just telling people I did the front part, Deb. Deborah's daughter, Emma, helped me, and she was so fabulous the other night. That was great. Pamela, hello. Hey, Karen, hello. This is wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. We've got, so anybody who wants a reading, let me know. And we've actually gathered around $130 and counting for our Mamas for Africa charity. I've got the link if you want to learn more about Mamas for Africa. 30% of the $10 that you send in will go straight to the charity. And if you want to, add any more for the charity, you just let me know. And of course, I'll make note of that and we'll send it off to Mamas for Africa. And they do great work for the women of East Congo. Please read about them on their website. Tonight, we're going to learn how to read the tarot, and you're going to see how I read when I'm answering the questions. And I use pretty much one of 4 different spreads. when I get a question, I make sure that I can tease it and make it as specific as possible, at least in my mind, so that when I touch a card and I put it down, I know exactly what it is that I'm thinking about in relation to the card, so that once the information starts coming from the card, I start to get a feeling for how it answers the question. And the second thing that I do is I'll arrange it in a particular order. So, for example, if somebody says, well, how's this going to turn out? Sometimes I'll need to say, well, how has it been turning out? I might do a past, present, future spread, which we did last week. And then other times I'll just pick one card straight for how's it going to turn out. And then sometimes the cards will give a feeling for it will turn out great or it won't turn out great. And then if it doesn't turn out great, because I'm one of these people that is afraid of bad news, not necessarily afraid of bad news, but I'm always interested in changing something for the better. And why not? We want to feel better. We're attracted to pleasure and we're averted by pain. And it's okay to go with ourselves in some ways, because if we're constantly resisting one or the other, I find in my body, I become very tense. And so I'm weaving my way through going with, and then also thinking, well, how can I change this what I'm meeting in a way so that my reaction is not negative and I'm not creating more drama and more difficulty for myself. So I think that's probably how I'm going to, that's what I do for myself. So that's what I hopefully do. Hey, Stephanie, my good friend Stephanie, who's I do Aussie Tarot Twins with, is here tonight. Wonderful. She caught me. Yay. Down in Florida. Let us know how Florida's doing, all that beautiful sun and sea. Although, have they closed the beaches up? Stephanie, let us know. I know in Australia, when Sydney was in lockdown, they actually closed all the beaches because people were sort of locked down in their homes, but then really wanted to go for a walk on the beach just to manage their stress levels, I'm sure. And it was a really big deal to have the Sydney beaches closed. I think that's kind of unprecedented. So let us know, Steph, what's happening down in Florida, because you've got an epicenter down there. And I know there are a few epicenters with the COVID pandemic. And my heart goes out to everybody who is having to deal with it, because it is something that's on our plate, and the way that we deal with stress is really important for ourselves and our future. And I think that's probably what's propelled me to want to not only do the readings live, but I've been doing them for a little while, but just propelled me to want to come onto YouTube and see if we can all throw our net out and reach more people together, because tonight we've got a wonderful satsang. The people here are really amazing teachers and healers in their own right. Hey, Tara, how are you? You've paid, so somebody's got a question. Have you got your question? That's awesome. Charity of the month is Mamas for Africa. Mamas for Africa is going to benefit right now. So let me know what your question is, Tara. Let me know and we can start going into a reading. So yeah, the four different types. So one is the past, present, future. Two is just dropping a card down, seeing if there's a yes and no or a good or bad feeling with the card. And then I'll pick more cards to kind of get more details, right? And then there's the straight out yes and no, right? Is this going to happen or isn't it? And then there are the comparison spreads, which is, well, I don't know if I want to do this, this, or this. Or should I move into this house, or should I go to North Carolina or Boston? You know, it's like I can put down a card for each consideration or each section, and then we compare. And the comparison ends up being that you end up telling a bit of a story with each card, and that's really fun. So Stephanie says, Florida is gorgeous. The beaches are open. They were closed for the first month. The spikes are happening in Miami and in bars where people are drinking and can't keep their hands off each other. I think that was also the problem in Melbourne, Sydney, where, you know, really where there is sort of a quarantine happening and people finding that they can't really quite sort of stay within the realms of the quarantine, and it is really, really difficult. So, you know, I can relate to the human need to do what it is that we're always doing. We're such social animals, you know. We've grown and we've survived because of that. So it's Wonderful, Kimberly. Hello. Good evening to you. Thank you so much. Tara, did you want a general read? I'm just going to pour the cards out. Here's the High Priestess who's going to bless us with her energy tonight. She's not in focus yet, but there she is. I'm just putting her in there. I'll just pick one card for you, Tara, and then maybe if you want to make a comment and let me know if you have a specific question, then you can do that and we can get more specific. But I'll just start here. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Here we go. Got my little microphone out of the way there. Tara, this card's for you. Oh, wonderful. This is the 10 of coins. So in the deck, for anyone who's subscribed to my emails, I've got a little section called Tarot Tips, and I've started talking about the tarot in a way, little snippets of information that you can kind of take little bits at a time that will help you understand the outlay or the structure or the skeletal structure of the tarot. And this card is one of the minor arcana cards. There are 56 minor arcana cards. And this is the suit of coins or pentacles, and it's the 10 of pentacles. And so what I see here, Tara, is you in your abundant home with overflowing animals, children. You know, there's a sense of family, connection, being togetherness, and abundance. And you certainly have an abundance of pets and animals, which is wonderful. And that keeps you in joy. It keeps you in your pleasure principle, which is really important, because this card to me is the sort of culmination of all of the other cards. It's actually quite a successful card, indicating one has done everything that they needed to do and sown all the seeds and reaped all the benefits of everything that they've done in their life, and you're really living a very full life. And this is just wonderful, absolutely beautiful. And there's a little child here peeking out, sort of curious. You know, I think that you influence more people than you know, Tara. Here she is. Tara says, yes, please. I was hoping to see if you could tell if the baby duck would hatch and make it. Maybe that's a little duck right there. I'm going to pull one for the baby duck, but that's just a really wonderful card saying your life is full. It's really good. You've got wonderful energy flowing. And if you all just notice, see these coins, they're actually in the configuration of the tree of life, which in the Kabbalah holds a lot of meaning, and again is the tree of life has 10 focal points, and each of them represent a journey. And the fact that they're all present on this card again indicates a fullness, a completion, a sense of satisfaction. So that's what's sitting with you there, Tara. This is wonderful. So Tara is hoping to see if the baby duck will hatch and make it. So will the baby duck hatch? We'll do one question at a time, because there are 2 questions in there, right? And herein lies just another reminder to make sure that you get the question right. Yeah? So the question was, will the baby duck hatch and make it? So first, will the baby hatch? Yes, the baby will hatch. Look at this little baby. So all the pages represent youth and represent children or new beginnings, or, you know, something like that. So you can see that there's a little bit of, so let me see, I might put this out. Can you see this beautiful page has, there he is, beautiful hair, the youthful nature of his hair. It could be a girl, could be a boy, we don't know. And that's just like your little duck that's about to hatch. And there's new growth on the, so I do see this is actually a very positive card for your little duckling, right? And will your duck make it? Let's have a look. Yes, it will. Why? Why do I know it will? Because this is the 9 of coins, and the 9 of coins precedes the 10 of coins, which was this one, right? That we got for you in the first place. And so the 9 of coins represents a traveling along the way, a gathering. You see all these coins that have gathered. So this one's going to make it. This one's going to make it, Tara. And I do feel, see that bird that's sitting on her hand? Even if you knew nothing about these cards, just seeing the bird that's on her hand would give you enough information to say, yes, this duckling will make it. So congratulations. I hope you've picked out a name. Tara has a beautiful duck egg in incubation, and she's had, how many days has it been incubating, Tara? Let us know. I can't remember if it was like almost a month, something like that. And how does the divine feminine come into play, right? So the divine feminine, if you can see in her card, let's have a look. Let's see if I get out of the way. I want the divine, there she is. Do you see that around the divine feminine you have these pomegranates, this beautiful sort of tropical veil that sits behind her? I actually thought about getting a pomegranate veil or trying to find some pomegranates to bring tonight just to imbue her energy. But the closest that I could get was this pendant that I'm wearing, this blue, this kind of electric blue that gives off her energy. And I find that this very colorful section, because it literally is the only colorful part, that signifies how fertile our intuition, because overall the High Priestess is all about intuition and all about tapping into the very quiet intuition. And how does this come into play with Tara's question? What influence does the High Priestess have for Tara? Well, because you're so in tune with Mother Nature through your animals and through, this represents Mother Nature. Mother Nature is highly creative, highly fertile. And we know our intuition is fertile because once we tap into our intuition, we get inspired thoughts, inspired action. And so the High Priestess is telling you that she's at work in your life in general because you're tapping into Mother Nature all the time. And an egg, a fertilized egg that has been incubating and has grown a baby, there's actually nothing more feminine than that. And even though this egg hasn't been growing inside you, it's been growing separately outside you, and you've been responsible for creating the environment for the birth of this duck. So this is your baby. This is your baby, Tara, and I'm so happy for you. Fran, so Tara says 28 days of incubation. Well, that's a whole month, isn't it? Wow. Well done. Congratulations. Thank you so much, Tara. Fran says, hello, just paid for a card, please. Wonderful. Found out I'm going to be having 2 more. Is that 2 more, like the number 2? I'm going to be having 2 more grandchildren. Wonder what the cards have to say. Oh, you bet. Congratulations, Fran. This is wonderful. I wonder if that card was for you too. That card, the 10 of Pentacles, that had all of the pentacles up in that 10 of, with the tree of life, and you have the 2 children running around. There's a gentleman sitting in the chair and he has white hair. He represents wisdom, all that's accumulated through all of the experiences that we have in our lifetimes. She says yes too. Okay, Fran, so we're going to have a look. Here we go. Fran's going to have 2 grandchildren. And what do the cards have to say? Now, we're going to talk about the 2 in general. So this is actually a general reading. Even though the question sounds specific, we're just having a general reading about what the cards say about the children. So again, if I was to say, well, I could ask you, Fran, are they siblings? Are they children from the same parent? Are they 2, one from each different families? Are they 2? Are they twins? Are they coming together? I could easily pick a card for each. But first, we're going to have a look at how a general reading for both of the children. And how could we not say anything positive? So I'm assuming this card is going to be over the moon. And if it's not, then we're going to go into detail. And if it's not, I would say that's when I would want to know, where's one coming from? Where's the other coming from? Then we want to tease out, because the only negativity would be kind of worry. Is somebody worried about this? Okay, here we go. Oh, fantastic, right? We have the King of Pentacles. So the King of Pentacles, and it seems like it's a Pentacles night. Now, if we were studying the Pentacles, this would be perfect. So the Pentacles represent the suit of coins, Pentacles, which represents earth. So it's a very grounded card. Okay. And now I'll just see if we can get it into focus. So look at that focus. Look at this. He's got grapes on his coat. He's got, there's a sense of there are grapes growing on the floor around him. There's, all sorts of fruits. You can see other kinds of fruits and vegetables growing around him. So he's an extremely abundant king. And so I can say that these children are coming in. Now, I don't know how many you already have, Fran, but these children are going to add to your massive family. And I know that you have a lot of family, so that these children will be cherished members of this extended family. And the first thought that popped into my mind is are both children going to the same? So my daughter and daughter-in-law. Great. So Fran says it will make 7. That's wonderful. And you're probably going to have more. I mean, there are sort of 2 in waiting even after that. And I say that because there, you can see there's two figures, although they look like animals. They might be the ram. Can you see? You see these 2? They look like rams. And the last time we see rams before the King of Pentacles is in the Emperor's chair. And so there's a very strong energy of creativity, headstrong. So these 2 children might be quite willful. That's interesting. So we're getting a whiff of that with these with the rams. But also there might be more. So your children will probably not stop at just another 2. So you're going to be collecting them, Fran. This is wonderful. You're a great grandmother. You and Charlie are awesome grandparents. And, it's just, it's almost like an example of the abundance. Once you have children and there's more love in the family and that love grows, and then they have their own families and that love grows. And then you have their sort of relationship, the children's relationship with you, and that love grows. And so there's this abundance. It's an abundance of love. And an abundance of completion, an abundance that shows the success of what you've worked hard in your life to attain, that sense of connection with others and that sense of creating family for others, that you are good at creating family. So you are a really good role model for how to be. And if we're going to talk about the High Priestess, who brings in that divine feminine energy and brings in that nurturing and that caring energy, which is part of the divine feminine principle, that's unconditional, may I say. That unconditional loving and nurturing is what is in abundance right here with the King of Pentacles. So we've got 1 for your daughter and 1 for your daughter-in-law. I think Kay, hi Kay, K2323. So Kay, for readings tonight, I'm taking $10 for 1 question. And you just have to let me know that you've paid, and then I'll do your question. Absolutely. So if you scroll up a little, you'll see some of the, let me see if I can add the links here. So you should be able to click on one of those links. You can Zelle or PayPal me for $10, and 30% of your money goes to our chosen charity of the month, which is Mamas for Africa. And you can look them up, mamasforafrica.be. And so, Fran, we're going to have a look at your 2 beautiful children grandchildren coming in the making. Let's have a look at one for your daughter and for your daughter-in-law. So it looks like maybe one was a bit of a surprise, which is what this card says. It's like, oh, peekaboo, says Spirit. Here's another one. I don't know how many your daughter has, but this is an example of how busy is your daughter doing things with the children she already has, and then Spirit says, oh, here you go. Here's another one. But this is really wonderful. I mean, there's no sense. She just may not have been expecting it. And here's your daughter-in-law. And it looks like your daughter-in-law, that this was something she did have planned. She probably had wanted an extra one. Hey, Emma. Hello. And so there's a clarity of energy around your daughter-in-law, around the child that's coming. And let's have a look at the children themselves. So here's your daughter's child, and here's your daughter-in-laws. We're going to pick 2 cards there, the child and here. So I'd love to know. So if you were here, I would say, okay, so your daughter your daughter, these are the two cards that your daughter, so if these are very willful children, this will be one that challenges your daughter, as you can see. So this is the lovely family card, a lot of love in between these two. So these children are very much welcome, very much loved. But you know how some kids, sometimes the youngest one is the one that's the wildest and kind of pulls out. And I remember hearing Abraham Hicks talk about the youngest child, and it's usually because the youngest child has less resistance placed in their pathway, because by the time the youngest child arrives, the parents are so busy with with all the other ones that there's less time to kind of follow them around and say, oh no, don't do that, don't do this, and they often stretch the barriers and go further than some of the older ones go. That's where the artists and the musicians come in. They're usually the youngest ones, and they've just sort of carved their own pathway. But it looks like that's what you've got coming for your daughter. And your daughter-in-law, isn't it interesting? She's got the King of Swords. So this one that's coming for your daughter-in-law is very much like your daughter-in-law. I get a very masculine energy here, so I don't know if it's going to be a boy or if she knows it's going to be a boy. But this boy will kind of be a mirror of her, is what I'm getting. And I'm not sure how many children your daughter-in-law has, but the pregnancy might weigh her down a little bit more, depending on her age too. I know I was pregnant in my 40s and really felt my body, really change, and it felt the pregnancy, pre and post pregnancy. My body was like, I've been pregnant, and I don't think I'll ever go back to my non-pregnant days. So yeah, there's a sense of that too with your daughter-in-law. But can you see how your daughter-in-law and the child that's coming are almost the same, because you've got the King and the Queen of Swords together, mirroring one another. She's like, oh, here he is. And he's like, yes, here I am. A lot of the kids that are coming through are very strong, highly spiritual. I was just thinking today as I was driving the car back from shopping, all these people who had chosen to leave during this COVID pandemic, and the fact that they weren't, because nobody could be around them, with the fact that they've died of the coronavirus, which is highly infectious, they're not having anybody around the body, touching the body, means that they have the opportunity to choose which chakra they fly out of. Now, this is sort of spiritual knowledge is much higher than what I understand, but what I've been told is that if a being chooses to leave their body as they're dropping it out of the crown chakra, then they will have a life of service when they return. And if you are alone in your death process, then you have a better chance of communing with your spirit and not being distracted by anyone around you who's keeping you very grounded or keeping you very much in their emotions. The vibration is very, very clear. And I've thought about the fact that, these children that will then be, these souls which will then be jumping into their next incarnation in like 49 days, that's what the Tibetans say, will obviously be very high births coming back. So we've set it up in a very, very high way. So I'm not talking about anything other than some very high sort of spiritual concepts, which may or may not be true, but just this idea of the children that are coming in that have very, very high vibration and are coming in to serve. And that's just blows my mind. And if it's not true, then it's a desire for the world, because we could all use some very high vibrational beings. So Fran says, my daughter-in-law is older and definitely trying. That makes sense, doesn't it? Because when you look at the Queen of Swords, she's an older lady. And the Queen of Swords is someone who, I often related to the Queen of Swords because she's had some experience in life. I was 41 when I was pregnant with the twins. And that's right. That's kind of, if we were to choose a card for your daughter-in-law, that would be the one, right? Let's see if I can get her in focus. And you see all the butterflies around her, all the beautiful butterflies in her seed and the angel. There's this baby coming. Everything's going to go fine. She'll be worried about it and she'll kind of feel it in her body, but it's going to go fine. Wonderful. I think my daughters may have been a bit of a surprise, but I didn't ask. Yeah, well, we've that's the card that we got. The first one is due on Christmas. Oh, how wonderful, Fran. Going to be an awesome Christmas. Hi, Rebecca. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much. I tried curling my hair. And they have 2 girls already. It's wonderful. So K2323, let me know if you have paid, and if you want to, I can definitely happy to answer your question. And if you're still around, just let me know. Leave me a note. The High Priestess is also relevant here, Fran. How can we weave her in? So the High Priestess is holding a book. I'm just going to find the card. While we're here, we can just talk about the High Priestess, because we're imbuing her energy into all of these readings. We're kind of calling on down the High Priestess energy, that very deep, divine, feminine energy that's connected to emotions, that's connected. So how do we know? Right? Can you see that here is a woman? There are 2 poles, a black and a white, and she's sitting in front of a body of water. Now, bodies of water traditionally, even by sort of the old psychics, the old spiritualists, those who wanted to communicate with the other world, the unseen world, they would sit next to a body of water, or surround themselves with water, and that the information would come through because they could connect through their feelings and emotions, which I recently learnt that feelings are in the 5th dimension, or they connect us to the 5th dimension. And so that's what she represents. She represents the 5th dimension, doesn't she? Because she exists, she is paired with the magician, and the High Priestess and the magician are responsible for organizing the energy, that raw energy. And she holds the Torah, right? If you can just see Tora on that special book scroll that she's holding. And what that book represents, obviously, outside of the sort of scriptures, the Jewish Bible, the Torah, and then you have the Christian Bible, and then you have all of the sacred writings, for example, as early back as the Vedas, as the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran. You've got all of these books that have written the spiritual laws. So she holds the energy of the spiritual laws. She also represents the Akashic records, right? And the Akashic records are it's basically like a library that exists on a separate plane, and in that plane one can access the information related to not only the whole of existence and its history, both backwards and forwards, but for your own life as well. So for each point of consciousness, for each single soul that has reincarnated and incarnated, the information is written in the scrolls, the sacred scrolls, the Akashic records. And she holds the information. She holds that. And when the High Priestess comes into your reading, then you have the opportunity and the impression to access that information. And you can do that through guided meditation. And maybe if we have some time a little later, if, for example, we don't have too many people asking questions, we might be able to do a guided meditation with the High Priestess tonight. Wouldn't that be wonderful? So does anybody else have a question? I might pull a card for myself here tonight. I don't know if our friend Kay has come in, but you know what? How about we answer Kay's question? So there might be new people coming in who are not familiar with how I'm running the show tonight, and I want to make sure that everyone feels included. And I feel that, Kay, if you come back to the video, or if you don't, we're going to use your question about love and whether someone is coming into your life, someone new, as a way to include again the information on the High Priestess. A very small infomercial for me. If you want a longer reading for me, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or 90 minutes, please visit my website, georgiamarantos.com. And during these longer readings, we go into detail. We have a look at what's going on. Sometimes we'll sort of look at everybody in your life, or we'll just concentrate solely on you. Essentially, it's your reading. So whatever you want to look at, the cards will give you clarity. The cards, as they laid out, as we read them together, will actually start to create stories. Sometimes things are veiled a little bit, and the cards will help create pockets of clarity and organization. And it's interesting how it happens. It's because the questions are specific. When you become very good at making specific questions, that's how you get clarity. That's how you get clarity. So sometimes we're confused about something, about why something keeps happening, particular behavior in our life or a particular relationship. And the way that we lay the cards is we tease things out, and it's beautiful. And my intention is always to commune with spirit and to bring through that clarity. So little infomercial there for me. I'm available for reading, so please look me up on my website. I do have a friend that's contacted me, and I'm hoping she's going to make it tonight. Helen told me she paid for a reading, and I'm hoping that she can make it for tonight so that I can do your reading. I don't know, Helen, if you want me to do your reading anyway, but right now I'll just go ahead with Kay. So Kay wants to know what's in her love life. So what I would do is I would look at past, present, future. So if we're looking to the future, this is what I said last week. When you're looking to the future, sometimes what influences the future is the past. So if you can have a look at the past, then you learn a little bit more about the future, particularly when you've got the three cards laid out, and then you can compare them. So here we go, Kay. K2323, past, present, and future. And now we're doing this because there isn't anybody who's gone and asked a question. Although here we go. Emma says hello and she would love a card, but does not want to do it live. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Emma. I'll do a reading, and I'll reach out and we'll make a time. Absolutely. It would be my pleasure. So for Kay, it looks like in your past you've had a long-term relationship, and it looks like you're looking at the future. So Kay's question wasn't about relationship. It was about coming in for love, someone new, right? So I would ask you, I'd want to know, are you in relationship now? And are you in the relationship wondering about somebody new coming in, or has this relationship ended? Meaning a long-term relationship that's recently ended and new. So what you've got coming in your future is the 10 of Swords in terms of relationships. So what you've got coming in is this long-term relationship, and its energy is probably still hanging around. Why do I know that? Even though you're ready to go, the card that you're manifesting, because everything that we are manifesting for the future, we're doing it in the now. So in the now, there are thoughts that you want to get rid of, basically. So if there's disappointments that from that relationship, or if there's anything that's still kind of hanging around in your being, in your emotional being, in your thought being, it's really important that you come to some form of closure. And this is closure. Right? This is closure in that relationship. So at the moment, what you're projecting into your future is a closure of sorts, a closure of a kind of thinking, a closure of a kind of being. It's like you just don't want to think about that relationship anymore. And that will bring on the new horizon. You see this beautiful yellow light, this wonderful new horizon. So this person's lying down. We can assume that there's a death of sorts because of the ending. It's a number 10. Right? So all of the minor arcana cards have a series of 1 to 10, meaning 1 is a beginning all the way through to number 9, which is an ending, and then 10, which is a true closure card, right? So we've got a true closure card. Now, does that mean that that's where we stop? No. So the information that's come through is, number 1, you want to have a look at this relationship that you did have and see if you can just do any form of cord cutting. So cord cutting, if you look up Phyllis Crystal, Cutting the Ties That Bind, very, very powerful meditations that she has put out both in books, and you can see people that have lead you through the guided meditation on YouTube. So you could look up Phyllis Crystal. I'll actually type this in. Phyllis Crystal, Cutting the Ties That Bind. And if you Google that or you YouTube search that, you'll actually find the information. And you draw a figure eight between you and the person. It's extremely powerful. And once you cut in between the two separate, then that creates a psychic energy disattachment, and therefore you can disattach a little bit easier with all of these. Once the energy's cut, then the thoughts and the emotional energy can also be cut. And I'm going to pick one more card for you, okay? Because we're illustrating this with family. This is a family card. This is a traditional family card. And so it looks to me as if you'll be surrounded by family. That is there someone coming new? Yes, there is. You have an offering. You have a cup. You have, oh, look at that beautiful Prima Prana Hootie. So this is a Geometrics of Prima Prana Hootie. I'm just going to get out of the way so give it some space to shine. Absolutely beautiful card. You can get it on the Cretan Wellness Retreat website. And I'll just put that in for you to find. Cretan Wellness, retreat.com. And if you Google Cretan Wellness Retreat and Prima Prana Hootie, which is what this is, Prima Prana Hootie, it's basically the breath of life. And the breath of life is not only the deep breath that I just took in, but it's also once you take the babies that are born, take a deep breath in. Old people who are about to die take their last breath and breathe it out. And so we have the breath in for the whole journey of life, and then the breath out that is the last breath that we take. We breathe in and we breathe out, and then we're gone. And it's often as quick as that for some souls, obviously, who are born and then some don't even take their breath. But for those that take their breath and then take the next breath. So we find that the breath of life, with every breath, we're reminded that we're alive. With every breath, we're reminded that life is impermanent. With every breath, we can make it a mantra for us to remember that why we're here. Why are we here? I remember being asked by Karen, why are we here? What's our purpose in life? Are these questions that are worth asking? Are these questions that the tarot can help us with? I recently went live on a group called Tarot Nerds, and they're on Facebook, and they're a great place to learn how to read the tarot as well, because you could put up a post of your daily card and get people to tell you what they think's going on, and it's really wonderful. Even though there's like thousands of people, it's a public group, and you don't really get that feeling of kind of nurtured safety, which you do get on SQ Worldwide page, which is a closed or a private group, and you can share very personal things in this group. So I'm going to write both of those down because I just mentioned them. There's the Tarot Nerds Facebook group, and that's a very open, not much privacy group. And you might get some people who are not vibing, your vibration, and so you have to post carefully. Tarot Nerds. Did I do Facebook group Tarot Nerds? Okay, and then the sort of very high vibration group is SQ Worldwide. And in this group, you will find that people will request prayers for help for anybody who's unwell, family members, but also share spiritual knowledge, spiritual understandings, uplifting spiritual posts. And the SQ group, the SQ Worldwide group, was created, I think, back in 2008 by Derek O'Neill. You can find him on dereko'neill.com. And I've been part of this group since 2007, and I can highly attest to the integrity of the group. So please join the group and have some fun with us. So going back to the K's reading, we've got this card, which is family, which is maybe coming into spending some time with your family, but there is an offering. There is someone new coming, right? But you've got to go through this ending and this cutting. You got to go through kind of like, you got to give them respect to the long relationship that you had been in, not respect to the person, but just respect to yourself in allowing yourself to have had a long connection with somebody over many, many years and experienced a very deep that has come to an end. And there's a sacredness around that. There's a sacredness around the commitment that you had made in that relationship. And in that way, you create space for another committed relationship to come in the same way, right? Because you're honoring that vibration. Right, here it is. That's a beautiful card. So I would put this one up on your fridge. And there's a beautiful structure behind. There's a beautiful offering here. You know, there's that other relationship that's walked away, and this is the new one that's here. So, okay, best of luck. So let me know, anybody, if you've got any more questions. Otherwise, I can just jump straight in and we'll start talking about the High Priestess. I've got some very interesting books here. I do repeat these often, but I like to do that because there might be someone new who's never met me before who's on. So this is the Tarot Colouring In book by Teresa Reed, a very simple book, very large pictures that you get to write and some information that comes through, just some very strong point form talking about the symbolism in the card. The other book that I recommend, which I don't read from in this book, but it's a Bible by Rachel Pollack, 78 Degrees of Wisdom. And she has been around since she's been really, leading people, understanding the essence of the tarot in a very thorough way for a very long time. I also have Benabel Wen. You can have a look at the links on the few of my videos. And in fact, I think I'll include them here. And let's pull her out. Let's pull out the High Priestess. So if you have the High Priestess and you're learning with me tonight, I want you to pull out your High Priestess card. If you have the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, even better, because our cards are going to look the same. And the ones that I recommend are the ones that have been printed in the original inks that were used back in the turn of last century when these cards were first made. Pamela Coleman Smith was and is the artist who illustrated these, and these are the original prints. Where is she? I'm trying to find the High Priestess now. Bear with me. There we go. She's hiding. And that's what she does. It's interesting. Whenever she comes up, it's like, what's hidden? What's underneath this? Let's separate the veil here. Let's have a look at what's behind the scenes. What's created this? You have to go a little bit deeper when the High Priestess comes up. So she's not an easy card to read because she doesn't give you the answers immediately. She says, no, you have to go find the answers because they're there, but they're in the sort of spiritual knowledge and understanding. You have to look at the higher. You have to, with her, whenever she turns up, you need to have a look at the higher picture. You really have to raise your vibration. What's the purpose of this event in my life? And if you can do that, if you can raise your vibration and meet her where she's at, then the information will come through, and whatever you're going through will be much easier to bear. She is the divine feminine after all, so she has a lot to offer. And once you do discover what it is that she has to tell you, you'll discover everything, because in her scroll, the Torah, lies the secret knowledge, right? In her, there we go. Oh, here we go. Let me see if I can get, there it is, the Torah. There, I'm forcing the camera to concentrate on the card. So again, the body of water, which signifies intuition, psychic visions. Have a look at her crown. She has a huge moon and in the 3 phases of the moon. So you have the moon as it's growing, the moon as it's full, and the moon as it's waning. So her moon head piece indicates that she is not only connecting through the both her crown chakra and her third eye chakra into the phases of the moon. So into the remember that the moon is a reflection of the sun. So it's not the direct sun that we were seeing in the Fool and the Magician. It's the indirect sun. It's the mirror. It's the underside of the sun's energy. It's the flip side of the sun energy. So that's why you have the masculine and the feminine in the tarot. You see that all through with the balance. And you also have here the white and the black. And so the white and the black columns signify duality and all that exists in the world in two, right? So I think also that when Noah and his ark, he took the animals in pairs, but I think that too, those pairs that indicated the duality that we see in life. So you have one thought and there's truth in that, then you have another thought and there's truth in that, and those thoughts might be opposite, but actually they both hold truth, because the origin of the cards, the origin of those thoughts are the same. And so this is whenever we're in an argument with somebody, it's good to remember that there's a premise of truth in everything that has been said and explained and that exists, actually. And this is the High Priestess. This is the knowledge of the High Priestess. So if I have a look at what the tarot coloring in book has to say about the High Priestess, we're going to go through. So the pillars represent the entrance to Solomon's temple. Now, someone might have to tell me a little bit about Solomon. Do you remember the story? The B is for Boaz and the J is for Jachin, the names of the 2 pillars in the temple in Jerusalem. And they represent duality and balance. I just always remember what they represent. And whenever I'm talking about the High Priestess, or whenever she comes up in a reading, more often than not, one has to look at both sides of something. She's forcing us into the spirituality. The High Priestess is forcing you to find the spiritual knowledge, to find balance in your life. There's a lot of balanced cards in the tarot. You'll find this in a lot of the major arcana. So even the Chariot's very balanced. You have the Hierophant who's balanced. Even the Lover's card, where there's 2 people, one on each side with the angel in the middle, there's a lot of balance. And so balance is very important. And I feel that the major arcana, the cards that we're flowing through the moment, they indicate a very deep influence in our lives. And when they turn up, you want to take notice. You don't just pass over them and say, oh, well, that's too hard to understand. The cards, the major arcana cards are asking you to take your time with understanding the message that they want to give you, and to understand that there's an other message in what's happening in your life for whatever this card has turned up for, so that you can distill everything out of this moment and not just pass it over and then wait for whatever situation to happen again, because it will if you don't get the message right. Everything is a messenger. Pain is a messenger. Experiences in relationships are messengers. Everything has a message if it's meant to be a message for you, right? And so not only does she have the moon on her crown, but she has it on her foot. And here's a crescent moon. So that means that she is totally imbued in the energy of the moon. And the energy of the moon is very quiet. And the energy of the moon is very silent. And the energy of the moon is of that energy which just keeps doing what it's doing and is happy to be in the flow of everything and doesn't resist anything. There's no resistance in this card whatsoever. And so when it does turn up, she also signifies let go of resistance, go with the flow of the energy of life. Right? The water is very still, very calm. She also signifies meditation. Meditate, go in and get the answers from your inner knowledge, your inner guru, your Satguru. She's a very, very powerful totem. And more often than not, people who read the cards are drawn to her because she is the one who can help you access the knowledge that's associated with the cards. It's fantastic, isn't it? She's wearing a blue coat, a blue gown, and a blue veil. And the blue, that baby blue, has been associated with Mother Mary, so the Virgin Mary. So she often wears the same colors. And the cross on her chest that people have seen, it is a Christian symbol. And the reason that it's used here is, again, in balance. You've got the vertical and the horizontal, and you've got the 4 directions. And you have the intersection of those 4 directions is the center point in the middle of the heart. And in the middle of the heart chakra is where the bottom chakras and the top chakras meet, don't they, through the heart. And so if we are to ground spiritual energy, and I believe that's what this symbol is doing. So we've got the curtain, the moon beneath her feet, the scroll, she's got secrets, the pomegranate. Well, they don't talk about the cross here, which is interesting, but that is the represented. It's a Christian symbol. And we know that there is the intersection between the masculine and the feminine, so that she's holding it in her heart, so that there's absolutely no war happening in this card. You know, it's a very, very quiet card, very quiet. The only thing that's loud are the pomegranates behind her and the veil, right? And the veil I spoke about actually earlier, the pomegranate's filled with seeds and is a symbol of fertility, which was given to the feminine, that comes through the feminine principle, and which we see in the number 3, which is next in the Empress. The Empress is the physical manifestation of the divine feminine principle. She's the Earth Mother, right? But you see at the top of these poles, these are lotus leaves. And the lotus leaves, again, signify these are very, very sort of highly spiritual poles. And they hold the energy not only of the duality and the symbol of an entrance into a sacred temple, but also the fact that lotus is the heart of the jewel of the lotus, or the Om Mani Padme Hum mantra that the Tibetans say, being a very sacred mantra, taking you into the heart of the matter. That's what the High Priestess is going to do. Jenny Dee says, hello, missed first hour. Sorry, running errands. No trouble, Jenny. All here, and it's recorded, so it's going to go up on my YouTube channel later. Thank you so much for joining. We've got the High Priestess. You've come in at just the right time. I'm going to lead us through a guided meditation where we all go visit with the High Priestess and have a look at our Akashic records. I'm very excited that we got time to do that tonight. And then I can refer people to the last few minutes of this video, because what happens with the first few cards, and I'm going to pull them out because they're very important. So what we've created with the Fool, the Magician, and the High Priestess is a triangle. So the Fool is at the top at 0 point. The 1 is the Magician, and the High Priestess is the 2. And if we put them together, they create a very, very high consciousness. The triangle's pointing up, right? Up for high. And that high consciousness is something we can always go back to when we're stuck in the mire of our everyday sort of relationships, and we get tangled in somewhere and we think, oh, I don't know how to get myself out of this. Well, the information can come through these 3 people. And I think, Jenny, you and I were talking about the Star of David spread that I created to help one look at their issues. I've got, here we go. Let's see if I can find the Magician now. Magician, where are you? I can look for all the very bright yellow cards. There he is. So did you see how we've got 2 really bright, amazing, powerful power cards, and then we've got the very quiet High Priestess. So the way I bring these cards together is I create this triangle, right? Here's the triangle. And what you've got is the 0 point, and then the Divine Father, Divine Mother. I wonder if I can play some music and if people could hear it. That might be something I could do. Be wonderful to play some music as we go into our guided meditation. I didn't test any of that beforehand, but we'll see. So this creates an upward triangle. It's called the Holy Trinity, and it's holy because they're holding very high spiritual vibration. And if we ever have any difficulty, for example, we realize that we have an issue around anger, for example, and we want help with it, then we can go into meditation, which will put us into our 0 point consciousness, the point between two thoughts. We can go to the magician, and the magician will give us inspiration through creating that which is the opposite of anger, being calm and peace and stillness. So the magician will tell us how to do that by placing a card on top of the magician. We'll be able to do that. And then the high priestess will show us how we can access our Akashic records and what sort of intuitive knowledge we need, what kind of spiritual understanding we need of the duality nature of this particular issue, and she'll help us find it. So we'll put a card on top of her to have a look at. And what I mean is that we'll just choose random cards, meaning just as I've been spreading the cards and choosing random cards for everybody who asked a question. So Vantu is here. Hi. And you've got 3. Vantu, if you want to join in, if you want to ask a question, we still have some time. I could take another question. It's $10 for a 1-question reading, and 30% of that money is going to Mamas for Africa, a charity that helps Eastern Congan women. And you can find more information. I've put in some links a little higher up. So if you want to, please let me know by making a comment. So, for example, just going by on that example, right? Of okay, I need some help with anger, right? I'm just feeling angry all the time. Then what we do is we choose a card. So I spread the cards out. I'm going to spread the cards out, and I'm going to choose a card that overlaps the Fool. All right. So the Fool says the Queen of Pentacles. So the Fool's energy of I just need to nurture myself more, so that when I do my meditation, I'm going to look at nurturing myself. And then the High Priestess says, oh, yes, it's a good idea if you tap into your Akashic records and find out what's going on there. So actually, because I got the Ace of Swords, and as you've heard me say before many times, that the ace, any of the aces are yes cards. And so because it fell on top of the High Priestess, not only are we talking about her tonight, not only is she taking center stage, but she's actually telling us, or this information is saying, the answer to your problem or the answer to your issue around anger is going to come through communing with the High Priestess. Now let's see what the Magician says. Can I manifest the opposite of that, which is calm? And how do I do that? How do I manifest the opposite of that? Well, it's the 5 of Pentacles, isn't it? So the 5 of Pentacles says, don't be distracted by all of your material possessions. Come into the church and come into this. This again signifies the tree of life and the riches that exist in one's meditation and capacity to meditate. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to meditate with the High Priestess. Is everyone ready? Everybody ready? I want you to get comfortable now. I'm going to facilitate a guided meditation based on the High Priestess. We are learning how to read the tarot, and we are learning super well. My program that I had online called Spirit on a Journey Arcana is being translated into a book, so I'm super excited about that. And whenever I do readings for people, 30 minutes, 60 minute, 90 minute, I'll bring in the guided meditation principles so that we get to experience that energy of connecting with source. And then through visual imagery, we then create. Yay! Awesome, Rebecca. So here we go. Everybody sit back, get comfortable in your seats. I'm going to bring through the energy of the High Priestess. So whenever you're ready, close your eyes. I'm going to take 3 deep breaths, and if you feel like it, you can do that with me. Take a deep breath in and out. And in, out, and again, in and out. And as you continue to breathe, You notice that your body, as you breathe in and breathe out, relaxes further and further. You feel your energy calming and becoming more and more still. And you notice that your breathing has slowed down and your body feels good and comfortable and relaxed. And as you relax further and deeper, you know that everything is all right. You are safe and all is well in your world. Nobody is expecting anything from you right now. So you can relax and enjoy being here now. I want you to imagine now, inside your mind, as if you were playing a movie. Allow your imagination to run free with you. There is a ball of white light above your head, above your crown. And this ball of white light is life affirming and invigorating life force energy. And as you take a deep breath in now and out, this light comes down into your crown chakra, down through your head and into your whole body. This white light, this beautiful, life-affirming, invigorating, relaxing white light goes down throughout your whole body, down your arms, down your chest, into your hands, down into your belly, down into your legs, and then into the ground, grounding you. And you feel happy, healthy, and whole as you vibrate with the 432 hertz of the universe, and this divine loving energy is here. This white light that surrounds you and is inside you, in your mind's eye, you can now see that you are in a place, this very sacred place. Imagine yourself in this very sacred place, where all around you everything is white. And as you walk through this beautiful, relaxing, white area, you see that there's a vision of a glass elevator. And you come to the point where you are standing at the elevator door. And this glass elevator becomes clearer, and you can see that it's made of crystal. And it's a very powerful elevator, because as you go into this elevator, know that you are about to meet the High Priestess. And you're very excited. You're looking forward to this meeting. You know that this elevator takes you up into the Akashic records, where the High Priestess is the gatekeeper of the information that lies in this library. And so you get into the elevator. It's very strong, very capable, can hold you. And you push the button. There's only one button to push. And up you go. And you are going up and up, very slowly and gently, and up and up. And you see all around you, there are clouds and there's beautiful white light. You feel very happy and relaxed as you go up and up. And then the elevator stops. And you're curious, the door opens, and you see before you a beautiful open area and a building. There are steps to this building. You decide to walk toward the building. You're excited to meet the High Priestess. Up the steps of this building, you notice what the building looks like and what it feels to be near this building that holds the information of the Akashic records. You understand that this is very sacred and you are honored to be here. And as you go up the steps, you see that there is an entrance which has opened for you, and you walk through the entrance. And there is a room, a very bright room inside. You walk inside and you look around and enjoy everything that there is to see. And as you move forward, there is a desk, and there is before you a most magnificent view of the High Priestess as she sits waiting for you, holding the knowledge in this library. And there's a chair that you can sit down and commune with her. And you can place whatever you want to on this desk. The High Priestess hands you your scroll. This scroll are your personal Akashic records. You commune with the High Priestess now. You have a conversation with her about what you're holding. You may have some questions. There may be events in your life that you would like to know more information about. You might be curious and want to know something specific. Just know that this information will come to you. It already is coming to you. And even if you don't hear anything or see anything, although you may very well see something, or hear something, or smell something, or feel internally that you know something is happening, let these feelings and sensations unfold and tell you a story. As you continue to converse with the High Priestess, she hands you a gift, a very special gift. And this is a gift that symbolizes something very important. And this gift, you remember what it is, you know what it is, and you take it with gratitude and thanks. This gift will help you remember the knowledge and understanding that the High Priestess has imbued with you, shared with you, and given you. As your time with the High Priestess comes to a close, you take in her energy, you absorb her. She is now a part of you. Her knowledge, her understanding, her connection with the sacred understandings of the universe are inside you. And at any time, if you ever wanted to access this information, you could meditate, and through the symbol of the gift that she gave you, that would be your anchor point through which that knowledge would come through. You give your thanks to the High Priestess, and then you get up and move out of the building. take a look around this building. Have a look at where you are. Become familiar with this area. You can travel here again. You've been here before. And all your remembering comes back to you. All the knowledge that you have placed in your heart and your mind will be easily accessed for you when you come out of this meditation. And so you move back toward the elevator. The doors are open for you, and you walk down the steps, and you remember exactly where the elevator was. And you get inside that crystal elevator that's sparkling and full of loving energy. And you say goodbye to this beautiful place and give thanks again. You press the button, and then you start to go down past the clouds and down, enjoying the beautiful energy in this very slow moving, beautiful elevator that's filled with crystalline energy. It makes you feel amazing. And you come down, 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 back down to when you first entered the elevator on the ground, in this white room, in this white space, this white place. And as the doors open, you come out into this white place, this white space. And you holding the gift that the High Priestess gave you. And you're feeling imbued by her energy. You're feeling gratitude and thanks. And slowly, very slowly, you start to pay attention to your feet, which are touching the floor. And you start to move your toes and wiggle your fingers. And if you're sitting, you feel your back straighten and your shoulders move. You can tap your feet on the floor. Take a deep breath in with me as we come more and more into our bodies. Deep breath in. And whenever you're ready, open your eyes. I would love to hear from all of you how your experience of the High Priestess was. Hi, Garpeach, how are you? Stephanie tells me that we are all listening, me, Nate, and the cats. That's wonderful. I'm sure there are cats in the place of the High Priestess. In some tarot interpretations of the High Priestess, she often has a cat. Now, the Queen of Wands normally has a black cat at her feet, but the High Priestess can also have a cat because cats are connecting the other world with us. You know, they have the capacity to be so still and peaceful. Rebecca says, amazing. Thank you, Rebecca. Would anybody like to share the gift that they were given from the High Priestess? I was given a shell. And, you know, those shells with that curl around, and they usually have a little animal in them, but when they're dry, you see them on the beach. There's usually sand inside, no longer being used as a house. So I'm going to, when I think of shell, what I think of is sort of beauty and protection and a very feminine energy, and also very conscious of the Bhagavad Gita, which is a story, one of the sacred texts. And in the Bhagavad Gita, they use a shell or a horn to kind of blow through it and make a noise. And so I'm reminded of how one of the most sacred texts at the moment, for me to read at least, coming through my connection with the High Priestess, is to read the Bhagavad Gita and become more grounded in some of the spiritual teachings there. Jenny Dee says, my box of magic crayons. Wonderful. Oh, how beautiful. Oh, that just sounds so fun. Colleen said, a robin's egg and a blue ribbon. Oh, how beautiful. How beautiful. I mean, these symbols are personal and completely magical for you. And the idea of the crayons, I love the idea of being able to create and paint your own life. The idea that we've tapped into our sacred book of life, our own sacred book of life, and that we can create whatever we want. I mean, that idea so excites me. I've thought so much and so often about rewriting my childhood and writing my future the way that makes me happy. And whether it comes out like that or not, I don't know. But just having this idea of communing with my life in a positive way, it just feels so good. Rebecca says, I received a beautiful pen. Oh, wow. Oh, how sacred. Rebecca, maybe you're being encouraged to write because you have so much wisdom in you. Oh, how wonderful. Beautiful. I love these gifts. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. And so, when we go into meditation and when we receive information, we, particularly with this spread that I was doing, right? I just went, if I was looking at for myself, I was saying, well, how do I deal with anger? And it seemed that the information for me was with the high priestess, right? And she gave me a shell. And I thought to myself, well, that represents the Bhagavad Gita. And that in the Bhagavad Gita, I'm going to go through it and have a look at where Krishna and Arjuna are actually talking about anger, and have a look to see, does some of the information in these sacred texts, are they relevant to me? And I'm literally going to do that once we finish, because I feel that the information that comes through is trustworthy. Our connection can only be one of good. And when you believe that and you trust that, then you have to follow the signs, right? The shell for me is that, and then that's the sign. So for you, you're going to sit and think, well, what are the crayons symbolizing for me? And what is the message here for me? How am I going to use this to further my understanding of the higher spiritual knowledge? Yeah. And even though I mentioned writing a book, Rebecca receiving the pen, or for Colleen, the beautiful egg blue ribbon. Well, the color blue is literally the high priestess, Colleen. And so that is her color. She's giving you a part of herself. I mean, not only do you have your own connection with the robin's egg blue ribbon and this ribbon and what it means, right? I think recently, maybe in Derek O'Neill's on his YouTube channel, he has a meditation where he helps us put a bubble of protection around us. And I think it's literally called the bubble of protection. So you could go to his channel. I think it's a featured channel on my channel. So you could just go to my channel, go to my featured channel. That's Derek O'Neill. Click on that and then look up the bubble of protection. And in the bubble of protection, I remember this because at the top, once we create our bubble of protection, where only love can come in and love can go out, at the top, we sort of tie this bubble of protection up with a ribbon. And when I was seeing the ribbons, I was seeing a specific color. But I'm reminded to think of, well, yes, that ribbon, that very sacred, beautiful ribbon, you could tie it up. And then you have the energy of the high priestess with you all day long. That understanding of, I can take a step every day of my life, in every day of this particular day, and know that I'm imbuing the energy and the wisdom of the high priestess with me. We just need reminders sometimes, these little reminders that we can commune with the sacred at any point during the day. It's easy to be distracted by the jobs that we have to do, the work and the things that, to-do list, and we don't sometimes get time to sit down and meditate. But if we remember, that symbol, the shell or the pen or whatever symbol you were given, if you remember that, then that becomes this anchor point to, oh, I remember. And I can put that into practice right now. Gar Peach, can we donate to get a reading? Absolutely. Yes, you may. I think we even have some time. We have 5 minutes left. And I would love to. So I'm going to cut and paste. I think this is it. You can use PayPal, and my email is georgiamarantos@gmail.com. You can also use Zelle, georgiamarantos at gmail.com, or you can click that link and go straight to my website, which will give you the, let me see if I can find that here. If you go straight to my website, there is a Saturday live show reading item that you can add to the cart. In fact, I'm going to link it right now. Here we go. So click that link and that'll take you straight. You can pay by credit card. You can donate $10. And the $10, 30% of that $10 will go straight to our chosen charity of the month, Mamas for Africa. I sent out an email this morning. If you have a charity that is close to your heart, please let me know. Next week, next Saturday, we're going to be studying the Empress, which is wonderful. And we'll also be coming to an end of the month that we've been collecting sort of money to donate to Mamas for Africa, and we'll be choosing the charity for the following month. So if you have a charity close to your heart, just email me or let me know in the comments or Facebook Messenger me. And it's my public page is georgiamarantos3 at georgiamarantos3, or you can click the link in this video. As a very quick reminder to subscribe and click on the bell so that you can be notified when I go live. I'm also going to be posting videos, sort of how-to videos, how to read the tarot videos. I'm going to be making videos which are just about the tarot cards once I get sort of my video skills and iMovie skills polished a little bit. And so Gar Peach, let me know if you've once you've donated, and I'll actually hang around. So if anybody wants to hear and see Gar Peach's question, then we'll do one more question and then we'll go. But I'm still feeling the beauty of that wonderful meditation. So relaxing to be in the white energy, to be in the crystal energy. What did the building look like for you? I kind of just saw thousands of steps. Even though I didn't walk up that many, I just saw these beautiful steps, and I saw the entrance with the two columns. Did anyone else see columns? I was seeing columns, and they weren't black and white though. They were just sort of beautiful crystalline columns. Actually, they were this color. They were kind of like a tan color, or a very creamy. They were like marble. I felt like I was at a great, a great museum or a very regal sort of gallery. So I'm just going to wait a little longer. So Gar Peach, if I don't hear from you, then you and I can connect after the video's over. Kristen, hello. Thanks for saying hi. Thanks for coming along. This is awesome. Thanks for your support. We're waiting on Gar Peach to see if Gar Peach will actually make a donation. And if you want to, Gar Peach, let me know what your question is. We could get started on it. And, you could make your donation anytime. My family might be coming back right on 7:30. So if they do come back, then I might have to just go. But we'll see how this goes. So I'm going to leave some time because to get to my website, and then click on the link. There we go. Queen of Pentacles. I think there were things. I actually read cards upright. I know I didn't sort of talk about this beforehand, but you can read them upside down. There's actually, and in fact, in all of the great sacred texts, in the original, Arthur Waite, who wrote the original book, The Pictorial Key to the Tarot, and he's the one that made the Rider-Waite-Smith text. And, isn't that interesting? He's got a picture of the High Priestess on the front page of his book. And there she is with the pomegranate up the top. Colleen says, and that was wonderful. I saw columns too. Did you? Oh, that's wonderful. Yes. It's true that we were in a very sacred place, because I only called it a building. And that means that we were, I really do believe, I understand that the Akashic records are in a different dimension than the sort of 5D. I'm not even sure if it's in the 5D. I don't know which dimension they're in, but they're in their own sort of special place, but that we can access them. And that it's a very, very sacred thing to do, and that we don't take it lightly. I certainly don't take it lightly. because I believe that there is, with all of our actions, there is a karma that has, and karma being a balancing of energy. And remember, the High Priestess is all about balancing energy. So when we're dealing with a book as sacred, a living book that is sacred as the Akashic Records, if you touch it here, then something's changed, right? Because then an equal and opposite energy has to happen there for it to come back into balance. And so whenever I'm in dealing with the Akashic Records, and I haven't done any special training to be able to do this, although I'm looking into it, but my understanding is that, you don't want to interfere with anything. I only ever go to read the Akashic Records and get information so far. That's what I can do. And that's what I'm encouraging other people to do, because I find it very helpful. So we have the doctrine behind the veil, the High Priestess. I'm just going to wait to see if Gar Peach is going to donate. And then if not, we'll finish on this. So the High Priestess, as the Arthur Waite asked us and wanted us to understand, she has the lunar crescent at her feet and a horned diadem on her head, which is basically the 3 phases of the moon. The scroll in her hands is inscribed with the word Torah, signifying the greater law, the secret law, which we've already spoken about. It is partly covered by her mantle to skew that some things are implied and some spoken. And that's very true, isn't it? That we know that in the Akashic Records, it's not going to be obvious to us, it's going to be felt. She's seated between the white and black, the white and black, the mystic temple, which we're talking about. The veil of the temple is behind her, embroidered with palms and pomegranates. She has been called occult science on the threshold of the sanctuary of Isis. Again, Isis, Mother Mary, she's holding the energy and consciousness of the divine feminine across all different religions and all different ages. She's the spiritual mother, the daughter of the stars and of the higher Garden of Eden. She's the queen of the borrowed light, and this is the light of all. She is the moon nourished by the milk of the supernal mother. I love these words. So, this was written, in the early part of last century. She is the supernal mother herself. She is the bright reflection. And so he uses words as reflection, not only because the moon is the reflection of the sun, which is the masculine and the feminine together, right? But also that the reflection, when you meet with her, she's giving you a reflection of you. Just like the texts and looking into the Akashic Records are a reflection of you, so that you can understand yourself more fully and more deeply. And then he goes into the Kabbalah, which is fascinating. And I've never looked at the tarot in terms of Kabbalah. I've only used my sort of spiritual knowledge, what I understand. But there is a whole group of people that follow the tarot through the understanding of this very sacred religion, Kabbalah. I call it a religion, but it's actually the spiritual arm of the Judaism. Mystically speaking, she's the spiritual bride, and she reads the law and gives it divine meaning. So this is everything that we talked about, really. I think we really understand, we've really come to understand the High Priestess in the way that Arthur Waite wanted to. So Gar Peach hasn't gotten back to us. It's time to end the meeting. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for participating. Thank you so much for asking questions. Thanks for listening. Thank you for joining me in the guided meditation with the High Priestess, and for commenting. And it's a win-win for everybody. We've got money going to Mamas for Africa. And next week, my show will be at 6 p.m. again. And we'll be reading the Empress, or learning about the Empress. And if you know anybody who wants to read the tarot, we're still in the early days. You can catch up by watching a few videos, and you can all scroll to the very end and listen to the cards and the understandings of the cards. And this is a really wonderful way to learn the tarot, right? Because we get to practice with readings. So you could do the same at home. I know last week I thought I'll that if I knew anybody who had their cards, then, and maybe we could do this next week. Bring your cards, and if I know that you have them, then we could do the readings together, and I'll choose cards, and then you can choose cards, and you can tell me what you receive, the information you receive, and we can talk about what different cards mean and how different people read the cards, because we're different intuitive channels, and everybody gets the information maybe in different ways using different symbols. So I'm very excited about that part too. So that I'll be sort of opening up the teaching part of the videos. But thank you very much. Have a wonderful night. God bless you, and everybody stay safe. Be well. Good night.